Nintendo remembered this thing called Nintendo Switch Online service for games and is bringing us 3 retro games on July 15th. The Sega Astro City Mini gets some new details and a fancy new trailer, and I just want to watch this trailer again and talk about the new information. Some new games are announced, all of which are coming to the Nintendo Switch, and finally, July Nintendo Direct rumors are heating up once again with some potential leaks, but I'm not quite sure what to think about it. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games. So the Nintendo Switch Online service hasn't really been the greatest thing in the world. Of course, there is a lot of drawbacks to the service itself, but one of the fine things about it, one of the cool things about it was of course the inclusion of NES games. And then of course they added in Super Nintendo games and everyone was happy. It was like, okay, we're getting these games, these classic games on the Nintendo Switch via the Nintendo Switch Online service. It is getting it somewhat of a value when you look at how the service works. But then they sort of just came to a trickle with these games. These games used to release every month, and then once they started to introduce Super Nintendo games, Nintendo just stopped introducing them every month. It seemed like 2 or 3 months would go by and you wouldn't get any new games added to the service, which, well, just really doesn't make sense. There was over 700 North American Super Nintendo games, over 700 North American NES games. There's a lot of games to choose from this list, but finally, Nintendo remembered that this was a thing and is introducing 3 games to the service on July 15th. We have 2 games coming to the Super Nintendo and 1 game coming to the NES. The 2 Super Nintendo games are Donkey Kong Country and Natsumi Championship Wrestling. Now, I absolutely love Donkey Kong Country. I think this is a fantastic addition. It's arguably one of the best Super Nintendo games, and it was a game that really pushed the Super Nintendo hardware. I remember seeing it in like KB Toys. I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up, but I remember seeing that game and being like, wow, look at the visual style of this game. And I think it's a game that still holds up till today's standards. It still looks really good. The music is absolutely incredible, and of course the gameplay is just top-notch 2D platforming, pretty much the baseline for what the Donkey Kong Country games would be going forward, even in today's standards. You can see lots of implications of Donkey Kong Country in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which of course was the latest game released in that lineup of Donkey Kong games. Natsumi Championship Wrestling, kind of an underrated wrestling game, I feel. It has a roster based on All Japan Pro Wrestling characters from that time, so people like Stan Lariat Hansen and stuff are in the game. They're not under their own names or whatnot. They're under pseudonym names, but they have the same moveset. I wouldn't say it's as good as Fire Pro, but it's definitely a wrestling game that is a lot better than something like WWF Raw or Royal Rumble was from that time frame, especially playing it in today's standards. And then over on the NES side of things, we have The Immortal. And I don't know why this game is being added. It's not a good game. It's sort of a weird isometric sort of RPG style game, and no, like, it doesn't play good. It doesn't look good. It's not really a fun game. I'm pretty sure AVGN covered the game. Like, it has a cool box art. Like, the box art on it looks absolutely amazing, but yeah, the game itself definitely leaves a lot to be desired. So this is sort of a quality over quantity update, I feel. You're getting 2 really good Super Nintendo games, arguably 1 great Super Nintendo game and 1 really good Super Nintendo game, and then just a crappy NES game. But I need to quote Meatloaf at this time and point because, you know, I think he said it best. I want you, I need you, but there ain't no way I'm ever gonna love you. But don't be sad, cause 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad for this update. Yesterday, of course, one of the big pieces of news was the Sega Astro City Mini, a new arcade mini system coming to us from Sega with really a stellar lineup of games, and there's still a bunch of games we don't know about it. Obviously, the standout title for me personally was Virtua Fighter. To see Virtua Fighter, the arcade version, being brought to the home in any sort of capacity is absolutely fantastic in my opinion, so I'm really looking forward to this. Sega of Japan actually put up a new trailer last night on one of their Sega toy channels. I'm not quite sure why they didn't put it up on the main channel, but it's a really good watch. It gets you very excited for the system. You get a bunch of different looks at the system as well, and I think it just looks absolutely fantastic. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this does not have a North American release date yet. The Game Gear Micro actually doesn't have a North American release date yet, so these might be actually just stuck in Japan, which I honestly feel would be a big shame because these games need to be experienced by everyone. But if you have an Amazon of Japan account, you can actually pre-order the Sega Astro City Mini right now, and it does ship to the US. Now, Now, it's a little bit tricky to set up an account. I recommend just using Google Chrome and using the automatic translate system. It took me a few tries to sort of figure out where to click and where to go, but once I got everything set up, it was very, very easy, and I did get my pre-order in for this system because I need this system. Like, I think it looks absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see what the other games are going to be on this system. One thing I found very interesting, though, is that in the listing for the system, they did say that racing games would be on this, and there have been no racing games announced for the Sega Astro City Mini yet. A racing game I could potentially see being on this would be Outrun, or maybe even Outrunners, which actually never got a console release or anything like that. So that is an arcade game from Sega that is just stuck into arcade stuff. So maybe Outrunners will be on here, but I'm definitely really looking forward to the system. Like I said, you can get your pre-orders in on Amazon of Japan right now. There is no word if this will be releasing stateside, so this might be the safest bet. But yes, I had to get my pre-order in for this because, I mean, it just looks cool, man. Some new games got announced yesterday as coming to the Nintendo Switch, and there's one that's actually really interesting to me that I think is going to be a really welcome addition to the system. Now, one game that we did sort of know about but now has been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch with a release date is Wwe Battlegrounds, which will be coming out on September 17th, and you are just getting a still image of this game. Because last time I tried to use the trailer for this game, do you know what ended up happening? Not the WWE, not 2K Games, but Monday Night Raw. Yes, Monday Night Raw, the television show, actually copyright claimed the video where I showcased the trailer for the game because they showed the trailer for the game in their Monday Night Raw episode. So no, I will be doing no additional coverage of this game. I think the game looks stupid to begin with anyways. This is not a wrestling game that I think anyone really wants. It's like a half-ass big head mode. Like, if you're gonna do big head mode, just go through with it. I don't know. I think the game looks like garbage, but maybe it will end up being fun. Another game that was announced as coming to the Nintendo Switch, this game will be coming in 2021, is Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. Now, the Vampire the Masquerade game that came out in like 2005, I believe it was, definitely has a cult following, but I don't really think it was a very good game. I remember playing a demo for the game and being kind of like, well, what is this? Of course, there is a new vampire game that is coming out on the Xbox Series X that they showed in the trailer that for the Xbox Series X. That's the game play I'm showing right now from this, because the trailer for Vampire Masquerade Swan Song doesn't really show anything. It's just CGI sort of stuff. But I don't know, this series seems to have somewhat of a cult following. Obviously, the graphics aren't a priority. It's more based on the gameplay. It's sort of an action RPG style game. So maybe this game will end up being good. I'm sure we'll learn about some more additional information on it, but it will be coming to all platforms, including the Nintendo Switch in 2021. And a game that definitely belongs on the Nintendo Switch is finally coming to the system, and that is Ys Origin. Now, the Ys franchise is a great franchise. I love Ys 8. I can't wait to play Ys 9, and now Ys Origin is coming out on the Nintendo Switch sometime in 2020. Now, I actually played this game on Steam many years ago. I actually forgot that I had played it, but yes, I did play this game on Steam. It's not the longest game in the world. It's a standard sort of action RPG, but it's really fun. It's a really good game to introduce you to Ys styles of games, and I think this game will end up being a big hit on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game is getting a physical run along with a digital release. That will be the primary release, but Limited Run Games is actually doing a standard edition of this and a collector's edition of this. I probably will end up picking the standard edition of this up because I really just like the Ys games, and Ys Origin was a pretty fun game. It's not the longest game in the world. I want to say it's like 8 to 10 hours, but it's definitely a very fun game. So definitely some cool announcements for the Nintendo Switch, minus WWE Battlegrounds, because no. And finally, Nintendo Directs. Are they canceled? Is Nintendo never doing a Direct again? Is Nintendo giving up on 2020? Things are just getting absolutely crazy with these Nintendo Direct rumors, these Nintendo Direct leaks, and now we have a brand new one. And this one actually has dates, and this person is being very boisterous about this leak and saying it is a pretty much foregone conclusion at this point in time, so I wanted to talk about it. Now, this information is coming to us from someone named Kilos, and I've never heard of Kilos before. Evidently, they are a Reset Era member. They seem to know some things. They correctly predicted the March Nintendo Direct. That was, of course, a Nintendo Direct Mini that everyone pretty much gave up on, said it wasn't going to happen. Although I'm pretty sure RGT85 said it was going to happen, and then, of course, it ended up happening with a Stealth Mini Direct. So Kilo seems to be someone with a decent reputation that people are talking about. And according to this individual, there will be a Nintendo Direct this month, in the month of July, and they gave some additional details about it. So the Nintendo Direct will probably be announced on July 17th, and then the Nintendo Direct is going to occur on Monday, July 20th. Now, all of this is coming to us from information via a Discord, private Discord server. They did post it on various forums as well, and it was basically summarized on Twitter as well. Kilos actually put up a little picture of the finger snap for the Nintendo Switch Direct that we always, are pretty much accustomed to at this point in time. So a lot of people are getting hyped up about this because people trust this individual. Now, according to Kilos, it will be a fully featured Nintendo Direct. They don't know the actual contents of the Direct, but there will be several new titles that will be unveiled at this event. And this is where I think things get a little bit murky, because I just don't expect Nintendo to do a full Nintendo Direct in the month of July. I think they will do some sort of presentation, and I think it's going to be about those Mario games that have been heavily rumored, because that just seems to make the most sense to me. If you're going to be releasing multiple Mario games in the year of 2020 to celebrate the 35th anniversary, I feel like you would do a sort of presentation based solely on that. And of course, if that's going to be some of the games going forward for the months of September and beyond, that's something you would want to put a lot of emphasis on. And I don't think that that sort of stuff would really blend in well with the full Nintendo Direct presentation, unless it's going to be a very long Nintendo Direct. If we're talking like 40 or 50 minutes and then you close on like 15 minutes of all this Mario stuff, then maybe you could get away with that. But I just feel like the Mario stuff would be sort of better as a standalone thing. Now, of course, none of this is gospel. Take all this with a grain of salt. We, of course, have heard that Nintendo might end up ditching Nintendo Directs. They might just go with a different sort of format. They might just talk about games nilly-willy like they did with Paper Mario. Of course, there is the rumors that Nintendo isn't doing a Nintendo Direct until late summer. Is July really late summer? I sort of see that as August. So a lot of this is up to interpretation, but a lot of people are talking about this. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this subject, just based on things that I have heard and things that I believe. I think we will see Nintendo games in the month of July. That's a pretty much foregone conclusion. But as far as a full-on Nintendo Direct, I'm just not too sure about that. Alright, so that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. Do you think the games added to the NES/SNES online service are welcome additions, or are you sort of like me, taking that Meatloaf stance? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's such a damn good song, and that's kind of how I view dating. I want you, I need you, but I mean, I'm probably not gonna love you. But don't be sad, because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And of course, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you are new to the channel and you aren't disgusted by my singing, be sure to hit that subscribe button, check out other videos on the channel, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.